Hi, I'm here with the Austin Action Film Fest, and we've got Laura Herring here, writer-director of These Hands Were Made for Knocking, which was great. I just watched it. So can you tell me a little bit about the inspiration for your project? You don't look like a boxer. I mean, I don't want to pass judgment on you.
No, so actually I wrote it as a teenager. It was originally a short story I did for a creative project. And, you may have noticed when watching the film, it's kind of less about the action and more about the why. Why does someone put themselves through all that, all the, endurance that you have to do to be a professional in this sport, in this industry with, boxing in particular for the film. I was going through a hard time at the time. I was overcoming the loss of a childhood best friend. And I think I just kind of latched onto the idea of a external, journey that showed that internal struggle of getting back up, keep going, keep fighting, and both of my grandparents, my granddads were boxers, actually.
So it's in the bloodline. Okay,
yes,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
so you can relate to the story
absolutely,
in that sense.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was also a theme of grief going on in the film as well, which makes sense with what you said you were going through. Yes,
I think I switched it to the parental figures because I think that's maybe just slightly, I had to kind of externalize it myself where it wasn't just about me, but I felt like it was a universal story where everyone at some point has to deal with that, with the mortality of, one generation passing to another. So that was something that really came through, I think just kind of downloaded when I was writing where, that's the direction it went with the story. And I fell in love with it so much that, throughout my whole film career into my adult life, I was just like, I really need to turn this into a short film, and eventually I finally, it was just like 12 years after I wrote it originally, it was like, I'm gonna do it, it's gonna happen.
Made it happen.
Yep.
Wonderful. So can I ask, because I found myself watching the movie and wondering to myself, because I have mixed feelings about boxing, right? Because it's a violent sport, right?
Yes.
But it's also, and I guess that's kind of what the character is grappling with as well. So I'm curious, just on a personal level, how do you, especially because it's something that your family experienced, how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's such, it's such a hard thing because as we learn more about science, right, and how much of a toll a lot of fighters, boxers and even contact sports in general, like football, how much of an impact it can have on someone. I think, there's always that question of, when do you stop? When is like the healthy line to stop? And, I believe, for especially those who have to, who want to become champions and so forth, there's a little bit of that, towing that line where it's like, okay, I can't stop just yet. I feel like I have more in me, so I'm going to push through this, and my granddads, they had shorter careers, and part of that is because, it
does wear and
does
tear, the toll on the body.
Take such a toll, So, for me, I kind of, even with the with his dad being a boxer of the main character in the story, you can kind of tell like he's no longer boxing by the time he's a kid. He's taken that step back. So it is a reality, and I am fascinated with that as well, where it's just like you grapple with that point where I'm not winning, I'm not I'm not taking it to that next level. So do I stop? Do I push through? And in this case, he decides like this is so connected to who I am.
It's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Wow. Fascinating.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed.
Thank you.
Your project, and I wish you the best. And
thank you.
I'm going to ask you one more thing.
Yes.
So, is there something that you would want the viewer to walk away with, like an understanding or maybe a sensitivity that they didn't have before watching your project that they would now consider or be sensitive to?
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's kind of a film, I draw upon a little bit of the faith aspect,
Right.
because I feel like everybody, whatever career you're in, whatever you're facing in life, we have setbacks, we have failure, we have things that happen to us. We lose people who are, in our corner, and it's something that, if anything, I really want people to remember that you have the power to push through whatever it is you're feeling and overcome that. And, there's nothing more powerful than believing in yourself. So for me, I really want people to remember that, reconnect to your identity, reconnect to your familial identity, whatever it is that, gives you that strength, find it and keep going.
Amazing. Yeah, I feel like that came through for sure.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for spending time with us, and yeah, I wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate being here.